G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph Maker here, and you will want to buy the Nikon Coolpix P1100 because of its 3000mm zoom. It's enormous, isn't it? But the question you really need to ask is the photograph you get out of this camera, how is it comparable to a photograph you get out of, say, a full frame digital camera? And well, the results are startling, and I'm making this video so that you won't be fooled or disappointed when you buy this thinking you're going to get something else, but you have to watch through a bunch of my rationale to come to the aha moment. You can just jump to that, but I'm not going to bookmark it. You can just guess where it is. But otherwise, let's get into it. This camera has an optical zoom of 3000mm. And what the difference between optical zoom and digital zoom is, if you take a photo, you then zoom in on it, that's digital zoom. Optical zoom is when you use the lenses to see further, so you get the same quality of photo. Now, when this takes a photo through its optical zoom, it results in a 16 megapixel photograph. Now, when I pick up my Z5 or Z6, they're 24 megapixels, and my Z8 is a 46 megapixel. So what I wanted to do just before we go through is I wanted to break this down so that you can see if it's worth buying this. Because if you shoot with my 600, it's 600 mil on a 24 megapixel sensor. Now, if I crop the sensor down to 16 mil, which basically means you zoom in a bit, obviously this gets to reach further, giving the result of a 16 megapixel photograph. So if I did that, this then equates on a 24 megapixel sensor. If I have a 16 megapixel image as my result, this results in 735. It's not 600, it's 735. Now, if I put this on a 46 megapixel camera, my Z8, and I take a photograph and then I crop it down to 16 megapixels, it expands its reach to 1017 millimeters, right? That's still a long way short of 3000. So what if I put a teleconverter on my camera, and let's say it's my Z8, right? Let's go the whole hog. So I have my Z8, a teleconverter, which converts this, and then I plug the 600 in and I take a photograph. If I put a 1.4 tele on, the equivalent distance is 840, which equates to 1424 at 16 megapixels. So if I put a 2 times teleconverter on it, I can shoot 1200 with this on a 46 megapixel camera on the Z8, and the 16 megapixel is then 2034, so it's 2/3 of the way there. But if I just stick this with a 2 times teleconverter on my 24 megapixel, the result is 1470 mils. Now, also when you put a teleconverter on, you lose stops of light, you lose aperture. 3000 blitzes, all of that. Now, the other important question is, how big can you print a 16 megapixel photograph? If you want to print out and get the most detail out of it, the maximum you can print out at 300 dpi is 16.4 inches. So let's go out to 16.4 inches, which is this, by 10.9. So we're looking at this by this. So it's about that big, right? But if you just want a standard print, and you're going to print it out at 240 dpi, that's dots per inch, you get 20.5 inches. You can go this big, right? So we're starting to go, okay, that's wall hanging worthy at 13.6, which is by that. Then if you want to print out for a large viewing distance, and large viewing distance is generally about 6 to 7 feet, and that's been a little bit liberal. So 6 to 7 feet. So if people are only going to engage and watch this photograph at 6 to 7 feet away, which is what, 2 and a bit meters, that's not much actually when you're walking past some artwork. Then you can go 33 inches, which is pretty significant. So 33 inches by, so that's about the size of the screen, by 22. Yeah, so like it's about this big, right? Like that's a decent size. That's before you do anything to the resolution, and you can use software these days to increase the resolution. But, and I really hope you didn't just click off there and leave me all these bizarre comments. Have a look down below if there's bizarre comments. If there's bizarre comments, just because people didn't listen to this part of the video, right? There's a massive but. And the but is that a 1/2.3 inch sensor is tiny compared to a full frame sensor. Here is the 1/2.3 inch sensor, right? You go, that's pretty big. They did put it into this camera, of course, so it looks like it should be pretty big, right? But that's the sensor they put in here. And it's all well and good. You think, great, 3000 optical zoom on that should come up a banger. But what you need to recognize is this is a full frame sensor that you get in a full frame camera. In the Nikon realm, it's Z5 and upwards. So that's a full frame sensor size that has varying degrees of pixels in it. Have a look at the comparison between the two. So one we have in the Nikon Coolpix, that's the 1/2.3. Look how tiny that is compared to the full frame. And here it is. That means the equivalent of a 16 megapixel sensor at 1/2.3 is the equivalent to between 2 and 4 megapixels on a full frame camera. So the most highest quality you can get out of this camera is the equivalent to between a 2 to 4 megapixel photograph. That means you can print it to a maximum size of 10 by 7 inches. And 10 by 7 inches, well, that's 10 inches and that's 7 inches. And that's from a distance. That's where you put it on the wall and you don't look up to it close. So you see immediately the image quality limitations of this camera that perhaps you didn't quite recognize when you first started. And I think it's really important to highlight these things, because you buy this camera if you're a hobbyist, if you enjoy taking photographs and the creativity of capturing something a long way away, and you might want to post on Instagram or some social media platforms, for example, or just have them in a photo book and have this as your one camera that you go traveling with to create some small photos in a photo book. It's ideal. If you want to capture those memories that you just show people about things you've seen and stuff, that's the one to get. If you're expecting to print and to display and have people just enamored by the detail of shooting on zoom for a long way, this isn't the camera for you. Unfortunately, it costs a lot more money, but it might be the one to start with. So I hope this review has been helpful in breaking down some of the misconceptions that can easily be attached to when a company says it's a 3000mm zoom and we go, that's what I've been waiting for all this time. Hope this review has been helpful. Any comments down below, as always. I'd love for you to subscribe and to like, and if you think, you got that wrong, just put it down below. So it's always worth checking on these sort of videos. What's in the comments below? Because there's smarter people than me out there. Thank goodness for us all. Thank you, smart people. Thank you, everybody, for watching. The creative crew, really appreciate you all. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.